This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Let me see some data to sway me one way or the other is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't see where the shot clock helps shooting. I think it more for high school, it would make potentially rush bad shots. But, I look at our team. I can only really speak at our team. We probably shoot the ball within every possession we get, probably within 20 seconds. So shot clock would not affect us. We shoot the ball sometimes too quick in the offense. Of course, we're like every other team. We try to get buckets in transition, but when you have to work half-court situation, the problem with working the ball in high school, you're going to have 2 or 3 kids in your starting lineup who are probably not good shooters, handle the ball, and probably there's a good chance they're going to take the shot, which is the data I see, and the only thing I need is the wrong kids are taking the shots, kids that aren't really shooting a decent percentage. And you, of course, as a coach, you can fix that because, like I always say, it's hard to score when you're sitting on the bench. But, I'm at the point now, I don't care if we shoot 2% as long as we win. This team I have is very challenging in terms of you almost have to coach every possession to kind of calm them down, speed them up, defensively, offensively. It's draining at times. But, I'm not going to sit here and complain. We're 6-1. We found a way to be 6-1, and we go to down to Raleigh, North Carolina for a big 3-game tournament where opposition will be a little different than what we've been playing lately. So got a 4-day break, which is good. Good for the coaches. So that part is good. And of course, for families here, stay with kids, be with their families at holiday season.
Yeah, it's a lot of holiday tournaments coming up. I know the Boo Williams Sportsplex has them girls basketball always over there. A big matchup next Thursday, Princess Anne and Menchville. People looking forward to that matchup. As you got the standout Soraya Griffin, who once played at PA against her old school. You have just a slew of games. If you're looking for those schedules, the best thing we can tell you is just search online for all of them, as we got a bunch of scores from Friday night across the entire state for girls now. Now boys are showing up there on our ticker that will flash throughout the morning. We've got some bowl games, the scores from those in college football, the matchups upcoming, as well as the NFL picks at the end of the show. But all kinds of schedules. We'll put up some information as we get it on VirginiaPreps.com too. For all of you, we've got, as I mentioned, Craig Brehon coming up on the show from Bethel High School. You'll hear from victorious coaches like Charles Thomas of Western Branch, Derek Yogi Edwards of Lake Taylor, his standout at Lake Taylor, Elijah Moss Washington, who signed his letter of intent to play his college football in the ACC at Syracuse, which, by the way, can use him right now. They could have used him 2 nights ago when they got just lambasted by South Florida. A lot happening in the world of sports right now. And what transpired this past week, as we know, what's his name? Yamamoto is signed with the Dodgers. I'm so upset about that. I was like the 11-year-old kid you sent me on a Facebook reel this morning, Ed.
Yeah, I heard your rant on Facebook.
I'm very upset. And I might wear my NL West Diamondbacks hat, or NL Championship hat. They can have the NL West. We don't care. We beat them in the playoffs. We got to the World Series. We'll brag about that. I'll wear that later in the show because the Dodgers can keep trying to buy all these players like your Yankees did, and it frustrates the Dickens out of me, the Charles Dickens out of me, but I'm so over it. Right, they're the new Yankees. Enough about that. We do want to give our best, our thoughts and our prayers to Old Dominion basketball coach Jeff Jones, who suffered a heart attack this week in Hawaii. His team lost their first game in the Diamond Head Classic out there in Honolulu. They did bounce back from that opening loss to TCU 2 nights ago when they gave up 111 points to get a win over the Temple Owls, the school that John Chaney once coached to national prominence. So kudos to the whole Monarchs players and staff, and we wish Jeff all the best. Kieran Donahue, who we know quite well, really good dude, interim head coach right now in Jeff's absence. I do know Jeff is expected to make a full recovery and fly back on Sunday. Not sure if it's with the team or without the team. Nonetheless, I think he will hopefully be back on the sideline sooner than later. We wish him all the best. You just hate to hear that news. I found out about it before it came out publicly, and having been with the ODU men a little bit this year, making some travel when there are games at Ball State and Arkansas, calling that on the radio, pinch hitting for Ted Alexander alongside Dennis Wolf. Jeff's a really good guy. I know he can be a little gruff, a little bit like you at times, Ed. He's a veteran coach, but this time of year, we're just glad that he is improving and better after just a very scary situation with the health. And this is the time of year that it always makes it more precious, knowing that how much loved ones mean to you and those that are close to you. And so let's hope for all the best for Jeff Jones, whether he does return to the sidelines or not coaching. The biggest thing is his health right now.
Yeah. When I had heard about that too, I was just shocked because first I just heard heart attack and I didn't know what the next part of the statement was. Thank God he's going to be in the recovery stage, and hopefully don't know about how soon to get back to coaching. Of course, right now, forget about coaching. It's your health. It's more important for Jeff. And I know he's had some health issues in the past, not related to that, but get him back on that sideline eventually. And it just makes you think, nothing's guaranteed, and you just got to be careful. Thank God it was not something. I mean, it's serious, but not the end result that we don't want to hear serious. So speedy recovery for him and the team come back. And I know that rough game with TCU, but it's a great comeback to knock off a Temple team, not quite the Temple of the past, but still you're beating a very good team with a rich tradition in basketball, and see if they can get second half of the year get going.
Yeah, absolutely, Ed. And, getting closer to conference play, they'll open up at home at Chartway Arena on December 30th against the South Alabama Jaguars. The ladies of ODU will be on the road. Speaking of which, they had a tough matchup this week with NC State, who's number 3 in the country. They had a local hometown standout, Isaiah James, come back. We watched her at Princess Anne High School. We called a couple of her state championship games at PA. We know about the tragic loss of her brother, who died in an accidental shooting a few years ago. Ashley James, who was a big-time player at Green Run, was going to go to Missouri State to play his college hoops. The whole James family was there. Over 3,000, almost 4,000 folks in attendance. It was a rough night for Old Dominion on the women's side, but they did battle for a half, had a brief 19-18 lead, and then NC State just sped by them. The women's game this year, we talked about it from the outset. LSU was defending champ. You got Caitlin Clark at Iowa. bunch of star names, if you will, all across the sport. It feels like that tournament's going to be pretty wide open as far as there's not a definite South Carolina, UConn, Tennessee favorite. LSU could win it again, but there's about 7 or 8 schools. And I wouldn't sleep on NC State, Ed, which was picked 8th in the preseason, now 3rd in the nation. Wes Moore's got a very seasoned bunch, got a really good freshman in Zoe Brooks to go with James and some other returnees and some newcomers. They're a team that, if you're filling out a bracket come March, it's not going to shock me if they're in the Final Four. It might surprise a lot if they win the whole thing, but I don't think they're that, from what I saw live, they're not that far off from beating a South Carolina or an LSU or even a Geno's UConn. They beat UConn earlier this year, in fact. They put up over 90 points on them. So there's about 7 or 8 schools that could win it on the women's side, and that's definitely the case in the men's side, where I'm not buying Purdue whatsoever as the number 1 team in the land. Sorry. When you lose to Fairleigh Dickinson and St. Peter's 2 years in a row, I'm not buying you as a legitimate national title team. Not doing it. Sorry.
No, you're probably right on terms of their going back to the women's side. We always say it's so easy to pick when the women's teams come out for their championship bracket. It's so easy to pick. You just kind of stay chalk all the way through. You're probably going to win 75% of the games. That's not necessarily true in men's. Women can be wide open. We still don't know what's going on with totally. I haven't really kept up with it with LSU and with their top player out.
No. She's back. She's returned.
Yeah.
But Kim Mulkey got ejected about a week or 2 ago. And by the way, I didn't realize this until I saw it on his Facebook feed. A good friend of ours, Jermaine Woods, coach at Coppin State. They just played Jermaine's squad. Jermaine used to coach on the boys' side as an assistant with Darren Sandlin at Booker T, and Jack Baker at Maury. Was the girls' coach at Maury. Was an assistant on the women's side at Old Dominion and Virginia Tech. But his Coppin State team just played host to Kim Mulkey's LSU squad. Wasn't pretty, but pretty cool that they made the trip to go play, in HBC. It's neat to see some of these matchups, whether it's high major, mid major. You don't see that on the men's side, where those teams go on the road to go play an Old Dominion or a Coppin State or someone of that ilk, right?
Well, this is a time of year where a lot of teams play those guarantee games, where they'll go to a so-called Power 5 type team, get money, and probably get a whooping too. Just the way things work out. I think Michigan State earlier in the year played, I think, was it James Madison at Michigan State, found out that was a guarantee win. Michigan State, JMU was having a great year, beat them. It does happen. It's rare, but it does happen where a smaller team, needing the money for the programs and whatever. A lot of your HBCU teams, you'll see a lot of them on the road. I just heard a stat last night. I was driving, listening to some sports talk. Mississippi Valley State just got hammered by 70 to somebody. They have played, they're 0-12, all 12 games on the road. And I think 7 of them or 8 of them were against probably a team you could consider in the top 25, top 30 in the country. That's an unbelievable gauntlet to put your kids through. I would not do it. I know we may need money for the program, but I'm not putting my team on the road 12 straight games and playing most of the teams in the top 25, 35 in the country. That's just, you're asking for it there.
Yeah, before we get back to some high school center, we'll take a break here in just a moment. Hear from Craig Brehon, as well as Charles Thomas, Western Branch, Derek Yogi Edwards of Lake Taylor, Elijah Moss, Washington, who's headed to Syracuse to the NFL picks. And we're going to ask our question of the day here before we go to break as well. We talked about the tough losses for Old Dominion on the women's side. They fell to VCU, then NC State. The men had the tough loss after Jeff Jones was absent for the first game with the heart attack in Hawaii. He is recovering. He's been released from the hospital, to my knowledge, by the way, and will be flying back to Norfolk. I think it'll be around Christmas Eve. But they did respond with a big win on Friday night, did the Monarchs, as they beat the Temple Owls. And by the way, I got to give a shout out to Jason Wade. He didn't score a ton of points, but he does so many winning things for the Monarchs on the men's side, 78-63 over the Temple Owls. In their game, the ODU football team making a bowl appearance. Ricky Ronnie's team had that thrilling win, as you know, to beat Georgia State. I know you do the bowl challenge. I didn't do the picks this year because I was boycotting it with my good buddies Joe Deck and Leland McCray out there. I won last year. I didn't get the championship belt, so I boycotted this year. I didn't do any bowl bracket fill outs, but I know you do these. And I know you picked, like I did, the Monarchs to win last week, and I'm sure you were counting your chickens before they hatched, as they did not hold on to a 28-point lead against the Hilltoppers once and once a rival of theirs when they were both in Conference USA, the Monarchs, of course, now in the Sun Belt. Could you believe your eyes that they blew the 28-point lead, number one, against a redshirt freshman quarterback, a team without 3 offensive line starters? And number two, are you as mad as James Carville, who made the pick of Old Dominion -2.5 on Tony Kornheiser's podcast? And I understand Carville was throwing objects at the television screen. Are you as mad as the Raging Cajun out there, or were you calm, cool, collected? It didn't bother you as much. I'm sure you wanted Old Dominion to win, but it was stunning to watch it unfold. Did you watch any of the game, by the way?
No, I did not get a chance to watch it. In the bowl challenge, it's just a chance to win some shekels, not put some shekels down. I was shocked when I heard I had picked Old Dominion, but I did it because it's Old Dominion. I kind of thought that Western Kentucky, but then I heard Western Kentucky, and I think you and I talked about there was like over 400 players that were playing on teams that were in the bowls, in the portal before they even started practicing for the bowls. And we're talking starters, we're talking starting quarterbacks. Like, it was a mad rush to get to the portal. The bowl games didn't mean anything, and I was hesitant to play because I was more angry at that than I was any upsets in the bowls, because you don't know what's going to happen. The kids would abandon their teams that quick to jump in the portal for what they hope would be a chance to play higher up. Let's wait till the bowls are over at least for your team. But the Old Dominion really kind of lost that lead in the fourth quarter and then ended up losing in overtime. That was hard to take because some people in the country, some pundits in the country, kind of really threw some daggers at Old Dominion. I think one of the ones were making a comment that blowing that lead, their coach probably hopes that all their kids go in the portal. Obviously, somebody doesn't know Old Dominion at all. Just unfortunate, but Western Kentucky was able to put it together and pass it up, especially at the line. Redshirt freshman quarterback, and they came back in a heck of a way and won it. But you've seen a lot of crazy shenanigans in the bowls because it's just this day and age of transfer portals, and it's so open. To me, it just makes a farce, and I'm not so sure the necessity of some of these bowl games anymore, especially when you got teams that are 6-6 or 6-7 playing another team 6-6 in a bowl, and what for?
So you're not a fan of it, is what you're trying to convey.
I love the bowls in the past. I mean, you got to see teams that they weren't quite top 4, 5, or 6, but they played in some bowls, and some of the bowls have had long traditions to them, and it's kind of neat to have it. But now, I guess I'm soured to the transfer portal thing, where the allegiance is just not there, and the kids.
You're just Scrooge this time of year. You're always Scrooge. You're hating on shot clocks. You're hating on transfers. I mean, you don't want to give anybody Christmas presents. What is wrong with you out there? By the way, Caden Veltkamp, I wouldn't know who he was. He was going to enter the transfer portal this year after being told by the coaching staff he'd be converted to tight end if he came back next season. And the guy throws for 383 and 5 touchdowns. Now, he did torch the Monarchs defense, which was without their top tackler, as you're talking about, Jason Anderson. So this team's missing this guy. This team's missing that guy. The portal, you don't know who's on the field half the time. People still tune into some of these bowl games. I will tell you what was crazy. They shifted it. If you were watching it on TV, they shifted it off ESPN, the main channel, to ESPN2 so that Monday Night Countdown could come on before the Monday night game with Eagles Seahawks. So imagine if you're a diehard Monarchs or Hilltoppers fan. I'm not trying to be, laughing at, but I mean, you're right there. I can just see my dad being one of those folks. He's a JMU fan. They play, by the way, Air Force this weekend. And I can hear him saying, "Gosh darn it, son, where's the remote controller? I can't, it's changed the channel on me. I didn't change it." I can see him losing his ever-loving mind as it was going to overtime. They did this. They shifted it off. By the way, they're not doing that to Alabama or Michigan or Ohio State. Not a chance in the world that happens.
No, not the bowl championship series.
No way.
That's not happening. They're not going to touch that. Too much money, too much. It's too much at stake. Regardless if any of those teams lost guys in the portals already, that doesn't matter. That's just for national championship. It's just a complete different level than what the bowls used to mean. And I think you'll see some kind of cleaning up. Not much you can do about the portal unless the NCAA puts back in there. You transfer, you sit out. But there was a court ruling. I forget where it was at. You can't do that. That they have to allow the kids to be eligible. So if you have a court ruling behind you, you're really screwed. They're going to have to come up with something much stronger to fix it. But I don't know if they can. But I used to really, really like the Bulls. Try to watch a little bit here and there that's on. Of course, it's always during basketball season. And once I said I'm watching film or I'm at a game somewhere, if we're not playing or practicing, and I kind of lose sight of some of that stuff, like college basketball. I've been watching some of the games that have been on late night, and I don't get like some people. I'm not going to sit here and say about here comes the Final Four or what 64 teams belong in or who's the early.
Is that a dig at me? Is that a dig at me?
No, did you do that?
Well, I've been telling people I've been on Grand Canyon all year. That's my team. I also was on Michigan State. I got off that fast when I lost to James Madison. And I give you two other teams I like a lot. I like Northwestern, despite their loss to Chicago State not too long ago.
Loss.
And I'm big. They beat Loyola last night. I'm very big on Colorado State. So if you got people out there that want to get on a team for your bracket, I gave you four right there. Well, three. I'm not going with Michigan State now, but like Northwestern, like Grand Canyon, like Colorado State. One of those three could find their way to the Final Four, even though I will put it out there because he does watch the show and listens. Our good buddy Ox out there, Torrance Oxendine, thinks I'm crazy. Stake on the line if they get to the Sweet 16 from Northwestern. He thinks I'm out of my mind. So if he does hear this and see it now, it's been put up there on the screen. I'm just saying that's three of my teams that I think could make a little push at this.
I'll put a stake on it. Michigan State will go further in the tournament than Northwestern.
You sure about that? We don't even know who's playing. First of all, we're in December 23rd. We don't even know what bracket they're in. That's a little much.
We don't know if they're making it.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on with that. But if they both get in, Michigan State, Northwestern, Michigan State will go further in the tournament than Northwestern will.
All right, you say so. And it was National Signing Day this week. It was sort of hum because you know where most of these kids are going unless they decommit. And there's another signing day that comes in February. A couple notables, though. Former Kellum standout Kamari Copeland. He's coming to play for the Hokies of Virginia Tech after a JUCO stint. Sort of like the new version of Phildarius Payne, who played for you in basketball, also played football at Nance, whatever. So it's a good pickup for Brent Pry and the Hokies there. Cam Courtney, who I watched dazzle both sides of the ball for Freedom of Woodbridge, who won the Class 6 state championship over Highland Springs at UVA. While he was playing on his new home, he flipped from Indiana to UVA. Makes sense. You're going to stay close to home. Indiana does have a guy that coached in our state, though, in Kurt Signetti, formerly of JMU, who's not shy about ruffling feathers right now and saying outlandish things at this point. Maybe that'll be for a later time. And then also another flip was Mason Moose Wade. I know you love that name, Moose Wade, offensive lineman from Loudoun Valley, flipping from Duke to Clemson as he flipped from a school that lost to a school, but again, a coaching staff change. So generally your flips or decommitments come when you have a coaching staff change. Now we'll hear it from Elijah Moss Washington of Lake Taylor in a bit. He did not decommit from his pledge to Syracuse he made late in the summer. He's going to play for the Orange despite them getting a new coach in Fran Brown, who was an assistant at Georgia. He takes over for Dino Babers, who got the boot. So a lot of news on that front. Locally, Old Dominion only signed one guy locally that I recall from reading the list was Trevion Stevenson, big-time defensive end from Phoebus High School, helped them win 3 consecutive state titles. They did get a nice pickup from Northern Virginia and Naeem Abdul-Rahim Gladding, the wide receiver from Stonebridge, who might have been, for much of that game, the best player on the field, despite Stonebridge losing to Maury in the state championship. And kudos to some guys that got state players of the year in football too, Ed, before we take this break and ask our question of the day. Anthony Reddick from Phoebus was the Class 4 state defensive player of the year. He's going to Maryland from Phoebus. Kudos to Anthony Reddick. Torrey Newkirk, the quarterback from Maury. He's a junior. He was state offensive player of the year. And the defensive player of the year, Fred J.R. Johnson from Maury. He's headed to South Carolina. So kudos to those young men as they were state players of the year, Class 5, Class 4 offense and defense.
Yeah, when I heard about signing day 2, and it was kind of, again, listen to some of the national pundits talking about it. It's because of the portal, the signing period out of high school kind of gets distorted because it's more or less who some teams are concentrating on the portal. They're not concentrating on signing high school players. They're taking a more polished kid that's in the portal than a kid that you're going to have to develop, more than likely redshirt his first year. You can grab somebody out of the portal who you're not going to redshirt. He has a great chance to be a starter if you're weak at that position. That's not necessarily true when you're pulling a high school kid out of the signing period. And I think the February signing period will be a little bit more open to names. I think some kids are waiting to kind of see what's going on with the portal too, because it can change kids' minds. Coaching changes definitely will change kids' minds. And then, of course, what else happens in the portal? But as in basketball, I think a lot of football teams are looking at the portal for the quick fix, especially linemen, as opposed to, as you and I both know, most high school kids in football, unless you're a 5-star, maybe plus, you're going to redshirt your first year.
Yeah.
True when you pull somebody out of the portal.
You see on the screen the Rivals recruiting team rankings for the class of 2024. Georgia's at the top. No surprise, having won the last 2 national championships, and they've been including up on recruiting. Texas is right behind them. Alabama, Miami, Ohio State, Oregon, Oklahoma to close out the top 10 that Rivals has. You can check it out there, of course, on Rivals.com, which is the parent company for us at VirginiaPreps.com, powered by Yahoo Sports. You got, after Oklahoma, Auburn 8, Notre Dame 9, Clemson number 10. So there you have it. No real surprises. Pretty chalky as far as the teams you would expect to be up there for the college football team recruiting rankings, if you will. So there you have it. Anything surprise you there on that front?
The first thing when I looked at the 10, Auburn's up higher than I thought they would be. Now, is that ranking based on signing strictly high school guys or guys, period, including?
It's got a list of your average ratings by Rivals, a system of 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, and points. It's like almost like a system of analytics, if you will, with that. So it does incorporate, I think, in some cases, there might be a transfer portal, but it's mainly just your incoming high school recruits.
Okay.
So for 2024.
Auburn being up there that high, a little bit of a surprise. And even Clemson at 10, even though traditionally strong program, seeing Clemson at 10, of course, they need it. And, of course, the other big football news this week, I don't know how you can avoid it, the lawsuits of the ACC suing Florida State suing everybody because of the bowl championship stuff. And it looks like Florida State is begging to get the heck out of the ACC as soon as possible, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen unless a court makes a decision quick enough. But there's some crazy stuff going on there with the multiple lawsuits.
They won in the SEC because you were upset a couple weeks ago they were left out of the college football playoff. I told you, sorry, they want the 4 best teams. They're just not one of the 4 best teams without Jordan Travis right now. And I think they've been flirting with the SEC for more than a year now. They've been wanting to go that direction. And it probably will be what happens for them ultimately at some point. Our question of the day as we head to break here, what is your favorite Christmas movie? Tweet us, X us, Facebook us, YouTube us, Virginia Preps, comment us, all over the place. Let us know. We'll put you on the screen. We already got a couple of reactions to this, including our pal Mark Ragsdale has already waited on this question this morning. His selection, by the way, is National Lampoon's A Christmas Vacation. Ed
Yes.
We'll give you his pick later on. I'll give you mine. We might give you our top 5 of Christmas movies. I even got DJ Hats, if you want to know, Mike Hatfield, who was a participant a couple weeks ago when he beat you in Fact or Fiction. We'll let you know what his top 5 is if you'd like to know. So send us your comments on what your favorite Christmas movie is. We'll throw it up there throughout the morning if we get some that we like, maybe some different picks, some outside the box picks. And I still say we're going to do our top 5 to top 10 movies of all time Christmas or not related. That could be for next week's show or our 2024 debut show. So there you have it. Yeah,
boy, I tell you what, National Lampoon is, that's high on my list. That's definitely high on my list. There's a few for Christmas movies to see. So it'll be interesting to see what everybody else has to say about their Christmas movies.
Our guy Jack says got to be National Lampoon or Home Alone. You got multiple Home Alones. You got 1, 2, or 3. There's some great lines in Home Alone. I love the little movie where the pizza guy comes, and then also the people in the hotel. I give it to the count of 3 to get your belly out of here. 1, 2. I love that part. Those old movies in the middle of the movie. There's some great bits in Home Alone, but I got one that's I think trumps both of them. I'm surprised nobody has commented yet. They'll do it, I'm sure, at some point. But to me, it is the lock of locks, and I'll explain why I say that a little bit later on. So,
well, I gotta say, since I just saw that post right there, probably my top 2, and I'm not sure what would be the order, is National Lampoon Christmas Vacation. Eddie is tremendous. He just showed up out of nowhere with the mobile home, and the lines in there. I can't say some of them on here, but especially from Eddie. But that one and the Home Alones 1 and 2 combined, just
The
those
Wet Bandits.
Yeah, the Bandits. First, they were the Wet Bandits, the Sticky Bandits. Those guys, Joe Pesci and
Stern. Yeah,
yeah, it's just funny. I mean, I watch that any time of the year, and I can still get a laugh out of it. Seen it hundreds of times, and still, the one that I remember as a kid, of course, is Mr. Magoo, Charles Dickens, the cartoon Mr. Magoo, based off the real movie of Charles Dickens for Christmas. That's one I also like too. But that's not really comedy. Mr. Magoo, the cartoon, because that's another thing is to look at Christmas cartoons. I think would be the one, but Charles Dickens' Christmas Story is a good one too. I know a lot of people like Christmas Story with all I can remember is the little kid who got his tongue stuck on the pole. See that?
Little Ralphie.
Yeah. See, when I see that, for some reason, I think of Hatfield. Hatfield would try to do that when he was younger. I could see that.
No, but I was the uneducated kid who put his finger in a light socket. Don't do that at home, children. Don't do that. Bad things happen. We will take a time out and hear from some of our sponsors and come back with more. We've got Craig Brehon around the corner as well. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk, brought to you from the folks at Hometown Sports Productions, Cova Sports, and those at the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. Stay tuned. We've got more coming your way in just a bit.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
Man, I wish I was out there. Let's unretire. Why not? Randy Moss.
Dan Marino? You alright? Hey, Grandpa! Grandpa? I still got it.
22.
Career game number 13. Let's see. Hey. I need that senior discount. That's the game. Mr. Marino, you mind if I take a selfie? Thank you.
I'm good right here, bro.
Unretirement? Who'd be dumb enough to do that?
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we welcome you back to 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel with the Virginia Beach Sportsplex as we talk to you about the world of sports, anything on your mind. Again, our question of the day we're asking out there, what is your favorite Christmas movie of all time? It can be anything. It doesn't have to be just Home Alone or A Christmas Story or It's a Wonderful Life or National Lampoons. It can be something outside the box we haven't heard yet. Let us know. We might put you up on the screen if you got a good selection for us this morning. All right, Ed, we were out at a high school basketball game in Chesapeake on Thursday night. A team you'll be playing on later on in the year in the Southeastern District, the Bruins of Western Branch, taking on the Sun Devils of Salem. Pretty high-scoring, entertaining ball game. Would you like to hear from Coach Charles Thomas in his first year at the helm of WBHS?
Absolutely. See what Charles has to say. I mean, that is an opponent for us coming up January. We've got a couple scouting reports on him already. We'll probably I think we'll get one more in before we do play them. And he's done a great job this year so far for him.
So let's hear what he had to say as Ed gets his pen and pad and tries to pay attention and jot down things and be very diligent about this. Here's what Charles Thomas told us, though, after the win, as the Bruins are rolling. It is Hatfield and Young at the PLEX on 757 Saturday Sports Talk.
I'm here with Western Branch first-year head basketball coach Charles Thomas. His Bruins move to 7-0 with a 67-61 win over Salem right here before the holiday break, Coach. 7-0, it's just how you drew it up to begin your first year as the varsity head coach, taking over for your good friend and Paul Hall. But this was a nice back-and-forth battle against Salem, where we brought out a lot of your guys, and I think it was a good test for both squads.
Yes, it was. Great test for us. We've been pushing family and togetherness, and that's how we kind of played tonight. Coach Hall set a great foundation for us, and so I didn't take over a ship that was sinking. I took over a ship that was pretty much floating, and the guys kind of brought into what we wanted to do, tweaked a few things, and we're moving in the right direction as a team.
20 points in the first quarter out of the gate. Ellis Wright really had it clicking for you offensively, and I know he's one of the better seniors around. 21 points, 9 rebounds. Still, in a lot of ways, he can be underrated because he's got a good stroke, and he's starting to evolve more as a player, right?
Yeah, he is. He's maturing more. He's working harder more. Actually, we tested him over the off season, hit the weight room. He didn't take to it at first, but now he asked to go into the weight room, getting stronger. So you saw some attacks to the rim. You saw him finish around the rim a little bit more than what he normally does. So his game is developing.
One of the better multi-sport athletes in the area, Jamari Parker. We saw him dazzle on the football field as a safety, as a freshman. I think he got all district, all region honors. Yeah. And tonight, his burst seemed to be a real key momentum shifter as their guard started to get in the flow for them in the second half.
Well, our staff meeting last week, I was back and forth about starting him, not starting him, because he's doing a great job. And we kind of voted that, you know what, coach off the bench, he likes it. He comes in, he changes the pace of the game, he gives so much. Super athletic kid, but he's a fun kid to coach. So, and then his shot is getting a little better. We're working on it as well.
Sure, and I know you missed a lot of free throws tonight, but your bench gave you a big lift. Parker as well as Derek Grant. He's another kid that we saw in the fall. Like, he pops athletically, had a couple of dunks that had the fans going ooh and ah.
Yeah, good kid. He admitted to it off season. He didn't work hard. He felt like last year and put a lot of work into it this year. Accepted his role to come off the bench. And tell you what, he's been a jump last 3 games. He's given us good numbers off the bench.
How much was it a help for you? You've known these kids. You've been on Coach Hall's staff. You've known them from the JV ranks. And you've kept the staff together. A lot of you guys like Brandon Newsom and Shane Barone and others. How much does that kind of help the process of you going from assistant to lead chair this year and knowing these kids and what they can and can't do?
Oh, yeah. It's been a blessing. Coach Hall kind of set up a great program 9 years ago when he came over. And I came in as JV coach at the same time. Good foundation. Our program, we always ran the same stuff. We stayed as a family, JV and varsity. And so to actually come up with some of these guys, the younger guys, and then have a strong role in the varsity as well as a head JV coach helped out tremendously. So, great community. Everything is just lining up for us. But we still got a lot of work to do. As you saw tonight, we still got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, turnovers, missed free throws, but couple more for you. I think 17 offensive rebounds for a team that doesn't have a dominant big man. You've got to be pleased that everybody was crashing the glass for you.
Yeah, we enforce that. Our coaches do a great job. We do what we call a pre-practice, 20 minutes every day. And there's those key points of rebounding, moving our feet, and free throws. We kind of focus on those items in pre-practice. And so those numbers are showing up now from our pre-practice.
And lastly, how good can this team be? You are 7-0. I know you still have teams in the district like the Kings Forks and the Oscar Smiths to play, and you are in Region 6A where there's a lot of good teams like Smith and Lansdale, among others. But what's kind of the goals you're setting for this group as you try to get better each game and day by day as you move towards the playoffs?
Yeah, I may be a little different. We set some goals, but none of them were to finish here, to finish there. It was to get better as a team and turn our team into a family and let the chips fall where they may. We take it one game at a time. Right now, we're just trying to develop young men that love basketball. So that's a great family atmosphere. We're just working hard, man, because I'm going to tell you, I got to play Kings for it. I got to play. Mans River's looking good, too. They can't hide. And then you got Oscar Smith, of course, man. All 3 great programs in the same district. And so we're just trying to stay afloat, keep it going. We got a big Christmas tournament coming up in Charlottesville, Virginia. We're going to see how we do there. Got some young guys, haven't played a lot, want to get them introduced, see how they handle that. Came from JV. So we just got some lofty goals, but we just take it one game at a time.
And a fun, lively atmosphere here at the zoo tonight at Western Branch. All the best to you. Thanks so much, and happy holidays.
Appreciate it, Matt. Happy holidays to everybody. Thank you.
So it's Charles Thomas doing a really good job editing his first year, taking over for Paul Hall. They beat Salem on Thursday night. It was a really entertaining game, 67-61 back and forth. I do think Lloyd DeLoach's Sun Devils, by the way, will be I'll give you 2 bold things here. Number one, this is going to make everybody in Region 5A mad at me. So I don't, I'm not trying to make enemies here, whether you're Cox, Kellum,
do it anyways.
Kempsville, Princess Anne, Green Run. I think by late February, early March, Lloyd DeLoach, if his big man, Trevor Thornton, plays like he did the other night, 16 points, 13 rebounds to go with his guards of Kamon Khan, Timothy Mobley, Timothy James Jr. By the way, you coached his dad, didn't you, Tim James? Am I right about that, or am I wrong about that?
Yep, Northview High School.
With that backcourt and that big man, I think they could win that region, regardless of seed, because that region the last couple of years has seen a 6 seed and a 7 seed win it with Green Run as a 6, Bayside as a 7. That's number one. I think Salem can still win that region, even though it was a loss, tough one. I think it's a learning lesson for them. And number two, the thing I took away from that interview above all else, and I like the job Charles Thomas is doing. I heard him say Nans River's playing good ball. They can't hide, by the way. Oh, are you trying to hide over there at NRHS?
Last time I saw, we're public information. There's no need to hide from anybody. Our games are all on tape. We're a very simple team to say. We do a lot of middle school type play. We keep it very simple.
Young, but you can't hide.
Yeah, I haven't played hide and seek in a while. We just like Charles is doing. We're just trying to put together the best version of us we can, and we haven't probably played the schedule. Our opponents probably together have not as tough as maybe what Charles has played. We saw him in the fall league. We know what he has. He's got one of our kids, which has helped him be even better with Salim Williams transferring over. And we do play them coming up. We know it's going to be – they're a tough cover.
Is it at Western Branch or at Nansman?
What's that?
The first meeting.
The game? I'd be mad. I'll be honest with you. I'd have to look up the schedule. I can't remember.
Well, I hope you play them twice, one on each floor. I just hope they heckle you to death with the Bruin Zoo and all those fans out there. I hope they do the whole Ed sweat. I love that. It's great. Just heckle the heck out of you.
They're even with the changeover, I thought they would still be pretty good. Not sure I would say they would be undefeated right now, but when I saw them in the fall, and I told Charles, I said, I think, he's been there. It's not like he's coming in from the outside. So he's had a lot of say in what they are to this point. And he made a good point that, Paul Hall has done a tremendous job since day one when he went over there for their foundation, total culture change, everything. Charles is just taking that and keep going. And again, you have to put your own tweaks. Charles and I had a long conversation about when he took over the job and asked me some questions and whatever. And, like I told him, you still have to put your own fingerprints on your program. You don't just come in and do everything that the other person did, because all coaches are going to want to have their chance to do their own thing when they get their own program, and they should be. But he's in a situation he didn't have to make a whole lot of changes, which helps. But boy, they're a tough cover. They stretch you out. They rebound well from all 5 positions. We talk about scoring from 5 positions. They rebound well from all 5 positions. They play decent defense, and they have bench play. See, that's the thing I'm trying to really concentrate on our squad right now is getting kids ready in this early season. And we're lucky to be winning games because we are playing a lot of people. And I'm driving my assistant coaches berserk. I think they've called 4 or 5 timeouts without my permission.
That's nothing new. You're driving people berserk.
Yeah, I sometimes drive myself even crazy in some of these games too. But, we've started, I think, 8 of our 13 kids have started in our game so far. We've got 10 kids averaging 10 minutes or more a game. So we're really trying to develop that, because when we get into district play, I was telling somebody the other day, they were saying, boy, you're not playing a whole lot of tough teams. What's up with you? I said, well, let me just say this. We play 5 games against teams currently ranked in the top 12 or top 11 in the area, if I'm not mistaken. So I said, I'll put that schedule up with anybody else.
Oh, no, you wouldn't. Stop.
We're doing what it takes for our program to survive it. We're going to a big-time tournament down in Raleigh coming up with 3 very legit winning teams down there from what I haven't even scouted them yet. That'll be in the next 2 days to looking at them. But, we like I said, the match at Western Branch coming up, and they're like a rival, almost like a city rival, Lakeland or Kings Fork rival with us. Their fans are tremendous.
Couple things on your schedule, because I get hit all the time about your schedule. Number one, I'm going to take credit for your schedule, because I'm the guy that told you 3 years ago you need to schedule as many winnable games that you can get to win to get in the playoffs. Because as you remember that year, you were 12-7, you missed it by a game. I told you need to get as many, and I didn't mean this to be disparaging to teams out there, cream puffs, cupcakes, winnable games out there. Number two, to that point, Charles Barkley said it best of it in NBA. It was talking about people getting on Georgia's schedule in college football. They didn't play anybody. And I don't mean to say that teams you're playing suck, but his thing was, it's not my fault if you suck. It's not my fault for other teams that they're not good enough. They got to come play us. They got to step up their game. It's not my fault if somebody's not playing well or bad. That's the other thing. And number three, your schedule will get tougher in the district as you see Kings Fork and Oscar Smith and Western Branch. But the way the system is, they need to stop beating you up. And I beat you up enough. So that's number one. Until they change the system where you get 3 points for a win, nothing for a loss, and I see a lot of coaches out there, I won't name names, taking subliminal shots, maybe not even at you, but on social media about these teams play, this schedule's not fair. Folks, it's not the coach's fault. This is how it was set up. Blame the regions and the ADs. This is what the Virginia High School League has in place. Until they change it where you have a strength of schedule a la football, you need to play as many games as you can win if you're in a region like yours, which is the toughest, I believe, in the state. We'll have some comments on that region too, by the way, because Craig Brehon's coming up from Bethel. He'll weigh in on your region. But that's my piece on your schedule thing. Real quickly before I'll get you on a rant, or because we got a couple interviews to get to as well before we take a break and get to Craig Brehon. My top 10s are on virginiapreps.com. So here's your chance to pepper me. Do you agree with what I had last week? I did not have Western Branch in the 6A top 10. And if you disagree, who would you substitute out to put them in?
Again, I'd have to pull them up and look at it to see what you have.
I can do that if you like. Would you like me to send it to you on the screen here?
Well, if you got to put up on the screen, going back to scheduling, we've talked about this before, and I don't really concern myself with what other people think. If people, especially coaches, are more concerned about me, my schedule, whatever, I already got them in the bag, because what are you worried about me for? There is no team out there that I worry about in terms of their schedule and who they play, other than the fact the team we play coming up next on our schedule, I've got to prepare to get them to play. All the teams we played to this point, some of them are going through. We played a couple of teams where their top players were out because of injury, concussion protocol. Somebody went away for family vacation. I don't control that. I play the teams that are willing to play us.
Sure.
And you're right. You made a great point about how the playoffs are in terms of, it's just points for wins. There's no formula like football and whatever. And I don't have a problem playing teams. I really don't care who you are, but I've always said this: show me a team that's playing top 10 teams and winning 9 out of those 10 games, and I'll wait, because you're not going to find anybody. Nobody plays a real tough schedule and wins them all. I don't care who you are. Nobody does. So you do what's best for your team to get you ready for the playoffs. And I've always said, if you're not in the playoffs, it doesn't matter what your schedule was. Yeah. You blew it. And that's what I look at. So I don't ever, and I do not trust. I'm going to take it from Dion. Do I really look like I care what other people and coaches say about my schedule? Because nobody will say it to my face. So it's okay. I smile, I laugh about it, because it's a joke. And some of those coaches themselves are jokes. So I'll leave.
So this was going into the week. This was going into the 19th. South Lakes, who lost to Patriot. They were 1, Patriots 2. That's going to flip, I would think. West Potomac, who's coming down for the Virginia Preps Classic 3. Oscar Smith is 4. They play Grafton today in the Iverson Showcase. Alexandria City, who did lose to the likes of Forest Park, as well as South Lakes. Potomac's unbeaten. It's not Keith Thunder anymore. It's Anthony Mills. Tony Bentley's got Wakefield surging at 5-1. Got an overtime win over Westfield. Also beat South County. Forest Park has the blemish to Kings Fork. Did beat Alexandria City. Glen Allen and Lancetown, who was 4-4, did beat Kempsville to get to 5-4. Your honorable mentions were Western Branch, George Marshall, Fairfax, Edison, Colonial Ford. So unless you want to squeeze out a Forest Park, Glen Allen, I'm not sure there's anybody you would substitute out right now today to put them in. But they have time to get in there, and I think they will at some point, if not next week, probably by early January.
Yeah, it's hard for me. When you do rankings, you kind of always look at record. Some people don't look at who you play. They just look at record. And they'll see a team undefeated and say, how they honorable mention, you got a 4-4 team, top 10. Well, that 4-4 team, Lansdowne, they may play defense better than anybody. I can't say anybody in the state. They're probably top 5 when they play defense in the state of any level. And they're not the most talented team in the state, but Coach Robson gets those guys to play defense.
Well, they have some tough losses. They played Lake Taylor, who we'll get to in a second. They played John Marshall, who's beaten them. Unless you get Paul to 6 down here, that'd be probably your only shot these days to beat them.
Right.
So there's some teams that are, on the slate that are not easy in terms of having to play to this point. But I think it all evens itself out. And as we get to playoff time, we'll see just how right or wrong some of these rankings were.
The rankings, again, are tremendous. And I would trust your judgment, because you see a lot of people play and you're pretty much down the middle. You don't have allegiance to any particular program or coach, which is good, and that's why I think yours is good. It's for fans. It's throw them up in the air, and wherever they fall, they fall. You don't know. It's the rankings. I always tell people, and I tell players, it's the rankings when the season is over. Where are you when the season's over? Where were you ranked? If you're the number one team, that probably means you want a state title. That's what you're going for. The rankings are just to generate conversation. Sometimes they're laughable. Sometimes they're very intriguing. I know you put thought in yours. We disagree a lot of times because when I look at rankings, I say I do this for college. I do it for pro. I don't care who you played. I look at your record. If your record is outstanding, then you're in the rankings. If you're playing all those really tough teams and you're losing, you're not ranked. So you again, it goes back to what I just said about 9 minutes ago. If you're going to play really strong teams, then it's expected you beat them. If you don't beat them, what are you playing them for? Because in high school, based on record getting into playoffs, you ain't getting into playoffs. College, it's a little different. It's a little different when they're playing them. And of course, pros have their own setup. It doesn't make sense to anybody anyways. Everybody's in. But I like your rankings because it generates what it should, a lot of conversation and talk.
Let's take a time out here from some of our sponsors and come back with Elijah Moss Washington of Lake Taylor. He's a Syracuse football signing, and Derek Yogi Edwards at 757 Saturday Sports Talk at the Plex, Hatfield and Young. Back in a moment.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
That's the DQ Cheeseburger Lovers Deal. 2 singles for $5 or 2 doubles for $7 for a limited time. So, how is it? Deal this good speaks for itself, I guess. DQ, happy tastes good.
Treat yourself to a visit to the Drip Bar IV Hydration and Vitamin Therapy in Virginia Beach. Boost your immunity, increase your energy, and promote anti-aging with our personalized treatments designed to ensure efficient nutrition absorption to rejuvenate your mind and body. Come see our chic and relaxing day spa for yourself today. We welcome walk-ins and appointments. Our medical professionals will help you achieve your best health and answer all your questions. The Drip Bar at Lansdowne Commons in Virginia Beach.
It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Hatfield and Young at the Plex. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel with the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. We're streaming on YouTube as well as virginiapreps.com on our front page. Facebook with the Virginia Beach Sportsplex there, or X/Twitter at 757 Sports Talk. Comment to us. Let us know what you think, and we'll pop you up on the screen any questions you may have. You can become a part of the show and interact with us here as well. We're asking today, what is your favorite Christmas movie, as it is just a couple days away from Christmas, and Ed Young has decided to be Mr. Scrooge and buy nobody, anyone, anywhere, any presents, because that's just how he operates, ladies and gents.
I give the gift of myself.
Oh, you're the gift of giving. It just keeps on giving, huh? Whew. Hey, we caught up with the standout from the Lake Taylor Titans, Edward.
You know, this kid, I love this kid in terms, I wish he would have went college for basketball, obviously, because I'm prejudiced towards that. But he's got NFL size. He's got NFL hands. Could this youngster be in the NFL? I'm going to also make this prediction. I don't mean to be negative. I don't think he'll last at Syracuse.
Why? Because you want to get to Notre Dame? That's where you're going. I know that's where you're going.
Oh, boy, would I love to see that. I think he's better than the Syracuse level. They're not going to want to lose him. But I think after 1 year, he'll go up the ladder. He's that good.
All right. So here's what we spoke with Elijah Moss Washington of Lake Taylor last night after the win over the Maury Commodores. Here it is with Hatfield and Young at the Plex.
All right, here with Lake Taylor multi-sports standout Elijah Moss. Washington Titans win a big one over Maury here in the Eastern District Battle on a Friday before Christmas. So happy holidays to you, Moss. Last year, I remember you walking off the court. You were visibly upset when you guys fell to this team. They swept you a year ago. How's it feel to get a little taste of payback or redemption, if you will?
Yes, sir. Feel good, you know what I'm saying? Because these past 2 years we've been falling short by like a couple of points, you know what I'm saying? Tonight we was able to pull the win out, dominate. That's what we're supposed to do. We came to dominate.
It's a good matchup in the paint with yourself and Mello Baines, your teammate, against Tyler Bell, who's back from Maury. What was the message from Coach Edwards and the staff coming into this one? It was sort of a grown man game in the paint, wasn't it?
Yes, sir. Dominate. Like I said, dominate, sure. You know what I'm saying? We the better team. That's how I feel. We're supposed to go out there and dominate. Mm-hmm. And with the both of us, you know what I'm saying? Either way, we both going to ball. No matter who night it is, we both going to go out there and put our all into the game.
Sure, and you showed that in the second half. Now, early on, though, even when you showed in the second half, you guys were down 10-0. Was there any doubt at that point, or do you just know just got to play some defense and we'll get back in the game?
No, sir. We'll never doubt each other. You know what I'm saying? We stay together. Mm-hmm. We make sure, because we know we can play with the boys. You feel me?
Yeah.
So we know we can win. When we go down, we just make sure we stay focused and come back to win.
Before we get to your football news this week, signing with Syracuse, on the hardwood, what do you think the best trait of your game is now as a senior? You've been a player that's been making some noise the last couple of years, but it seems like you can dominate. What's kind of the best trait that you do on the court right now at this point in your stage?
Right now, maybe making sure my team playing up the par. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
My energy, bringing my energy, making sure everybody playing right.
Mm-hmm. And you signed with Syracuse. There was a coaching staff change from Dino Babers to Fran Brown, who came in from Georgia. Tell me about the comfort level, and you're planning to use a tight end. But what do you think about your new home in Big Orange there at Syracuse?
I feel good about it. You know what I'm saying? Coach Fran making sure everybody comfortable. Mm-hmm. He giving us the blueprint of what we plan on doing.
What can the Cuse fans expect from you on the gridiron? Excuse me.
Coming to help them win, you know what I'm saying? We coming to excite the fans, make them happy.
Yeah. Got a quarterback coming in. You got to be pretty pumped about him getting you the football, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. For you now that recruiting's over, football, you can just focus on state championship. How good can this Lake Taylor basketball team be in your eyes?
We can be very great, you know what I'm saying? As long as we stay together and keep hooping, making sure we coming to dominate with the right mindset, we'll be winners at the end.
And a lot of people have wondered, this guy could just be getting ready for football. How important is it for you to finish up your senior career? I know it came up short in the football season in the semifinals to Lafayette, but you want to get a ring before you go to college, don't you?
Yes, sir. That's why I'm here.
That's why he's here. Elijah Moss Washington gets done on the gridiron in the hardware for Lake Taylor High School, and he's going to Syracuse. Thanks so much. All the best.
Not a shabby night for Elijah Washington, 12 points, 8 rebounds as the Titans of Lake Taylor defeat Maury 45-33. Fran Brown, the new head coach at Syracuse for football. Ed, he's going there to play a tight end. It's like a 6'7.5", 6'8" monster, if you will. Good luck defending him. Good luck handling him because he's going to be a major, major handful. And he talked about, getting the blueprint for their success and a young man that's got so much promise and upside.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised to hear he's going to for tight end. They're going to be putting some muscle on him. I thought he would be out there at wide receiver. He's got the speed, the hands, but
he could even flip over to defense. He could be. I've told people he could be Calais Campbell if he wanted to be a defensive end. I don't know that's going to be in their plans. Sometimes a player does get to a school like that and they flip them from offense to defense or position changes. But point being, if it doesn't work out for him or he doesn't accelerate to the level they hope at tight end, it's not a bad luxury to move him out to wide receiver or, like you said, play him off the, you can play him at a couple different spots. He's got.
Yeah, I would think, again, I have no clue, but I would think he could be moved around a little bit, set up in the tight end spot, sometimes flank him out a little bit. Who knows? Maybe they could play him at defense. Of course, major top, power five, you don't see a lot of kids playing both ways. Defensive end, maybe he's a defensive end, he's a little tight end on offense. Brown coming from Georgia, where they have probably the best tight end in the country with Bowers this year. I don't know. Was Brown offensive coordinator, anything on the offensive side, or was he defensive coach? The guy that got the Syracuse job.
Yeah, Fran Brown was, I believe he was a defensive assistant. He was defensive backs coach and assistant head coach at Baylor. Let me double check here as I look through his background and bio, because he was there before he got to Georgia, University of Georgia. In defensive coaching staff. So yeah, he was mainly defense. Defense. By the way, new quarterback Kyle McCord for them from the Ohio State.
Okay, transfer in.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned the quarterback. For people that know, they said, "Well, it's still about quarterback." Quarterback coming from a team that was in the college football playoff, talking until they lost to Michigan late in the season. So,
okay, yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they play that young man. But I think, and a big thing too between high school and college is the muscle they put on. Weight room, whole different level when you get to the college situation as compared to what they do in high school. I don't care how much you lift in high school, the college weight program, much, much more different. And those kids that really stick to it. And at the college level, you have to. There's no choice. They're going to put you in that. That's just like a whole nother class, so to speak, besides your classes you're taking academically. there's weightlifting you got to be doing. So it's going to be interesting to see they put that muscle on that kid. He retains the speed that he has. Like I said, he has great hands. I really think that kid could be playing for pay.
Before we get to our next interview from the Lake Taylor Maury game from last night, and by the way, I will make the Charles Barkley guarantee they will not lose by 45 points in a bowl game next year. Won't happen to South Florida or anybody. And Ed's looking forward to, he won't say this out loud publicly, his favorite bowl game is the Duke's Mayo Bowl coming up with UNC West Virginia, so he can just watch the coach, maybe Mac Brown, just completely get doused in mayonnaise, which I don't know what it would take to get you to get doused in. Even if you won a state championship, I'm not sure you would let your kids douse you with mayonnaise. What would it take for you to get doused in mayonnaise, by the way? Duke, you're just rubbing your face and eyes saying, oh, I don't even want to think about it. What would it take for you to get doused in mayonnaise?
There's nothing.
Not a thing in the world.
It's bad enough I got the water bucket challenge years ago.
We couldn't even give you a night in Hawaii with your favorite lady friend. Yeah. You wouldn't agree. Wow. That's going out there, folks. If you can't agree to that, wow.
Yeah. Who in the right mind anywhere in the country would
you do it for six figures?
No.
Really? We couldn't pay. How about if we paid you $1 million to be doused in mayonnaise, you wouldn't do it?
No, $1 million says a whole lot.
Well, that's seven figures. I mean, what's?
I don't want to be. Sell.
So what's the difference between 100,000 and $1 million to you?
A whole lot of extra zeros. Yeah, a whole lot of more zeros. That's a pretty easy statement to make.
About $500,000. Would you do it for $500,000?
My whole thing is, as long as I get enough money to pay my bills, I'm happy as kid. I talk about winning a lottery. Everybody talks about winning a lottery, getting all this. I just want enough to pay my bills off and to do a couple little things that I want to do. So I'd leave it.
It should be our second question today. Beside favorite Christmas movie is how much money would it take you to get doused in mayonnaise? I'd probably do it for 5 figures. Not about 4.
Well, see, you're used to because you use a lot of mayonnaise for your hairstyle. So
no, I don't. Stop it. I use a little dabble as bro cream.
I didn't let it out of the bag. I'm sorry. I let the mayonnaise out of the jar.
It's not mayonnaise. I would do it for 5 figures. You could coax me for 5. I could be coaxing for 5 figures for mayonnaise.
I would like to see DJ Hat douse you in mayonnaise because he would probably put some effort into it. I can see it right now.
Yeah. Anyways, no mayonnaise dousing needed for the head basketball coach of the Titans of Lake Taylor, but they're rolling, Ed, and they're number 1 in the state. Speaking of rankings earlier, in our Class 3 Virginia Preps top 10, including ahead of Northside, the defending state champs.
Well, I told you last year we when I looked at Lake Taylor in the playoffs, I said that's a team next year very easily can win a state title. I know it's not an easy road, but I said that way back when, and they're not doing anything to prove me wrong. I think they have a great shot at doing it, barring injuries and whatever. I think they have a great chance, and he's got a great nucleus. Yogi does a great job with them, and be interested to hear what he has to say.
Here it is, Derek Yogi Edwards of the Lake Taylor Titans with us, Hatfield and Young, 757 Saturday Sports Talk at the Plex.
All right, here with Lake Taylor head basketball coach Derek Yogi Edwards after the Titans defeat the Maury Commodores here in an Eastern District defensive battle. Coach, you're down 10-0 to begin the game. It's not looking so good, but there was no panic in your guys. Tell me about what kind of was the mood, even though it's the game before the holiday break. I think everybody was kind of sleeping with some eggnog, but you guys woke up in the second half.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think we wasn't playing well. I just think we wasn't making shots. I think that was the biggest thing. I knew once we started making a couple shots, we'll be okay.
Mm-hmm. Defensively, you still maintained. It seemed like you stuck to the game plan. What was it coming in as far as was it daring them to hit some tough contested outside shots? What was kind of coming in the strategy to defend these guys who have beaten you the last 3 times you played a year ago?
So we just wanted to mix stuff up, play some of this, some of that. Because they got a good coach, got a good point guard, so we got to show them different looks. So we wanted to do that.
Coming out of that halftime break, actually before the break, you had a 5-point possession where it was a 3-pointer, I think, from Tristan Skipwith. Missed a free throw. Elijah Moss-Washington got the putback for you. How much did that give you a little bit of confidence getting to halftime where it wasn't as big a deficit and you were kind of right there in the ballgame?
Yeah, that last maybe 3 or 4 minutes going into the half, we kind of went on a little run. It kind of helped us out, gave us a little bit momentum going into the third quarter.
What'd you tell them at halftime? That you could tell us, I guess, without giving away, this strategy.
Okay, we just told her, we just got to stick together. The whole thing is just sticking together. And as long as we do that, we're going to be okay.
coming out of the break, Jamari Edwards, who you're kin to, hit a couple of big 3-point shots. How big of a jolt was that kind of got the bench involved and the crowd into it a little bit?
Yeah, he was one of the kids that we kind of got after him a little bit at halftime. So he responded and hit 2 big threes. So that was good.
Yeah, message was received from him. It felt like you were not letting them get penetration to the rim. I mean, that was something coming in to keep Adrian Newton in front of you?
Yeah, I mean, since the season has started, like, our defense been playing well. So we just want to continue we work on it all the time. So we just want to continue to get stops.
We saw this back in the Norfolk State team camp. We saw it a year ago as you guys made a run to the state playoffs. You have twin towers with Moss, Washington, we talked about, and Carmelo Baines free inside. I mean, how much is that a luxury to have 2 guys 6'8" that can just pretty much play volleyball at the rim, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, and they play so well together, though. They play so well together. Like, what one do, the other don't do. Like, they just fit each other well.
How nice is it last year for you to be winning, but there's still things to get after the guys about? You beat Lansdowne, you beat Maury, 2 of the better teams in the area, yet you don't hit free throws. There's still some things to clean up on. So there's room for growth while you're winning, right?
It don't matter if we was winning perfectly. It's something to get after them about because we here to do something special. You can't be special by being okay with just winning games.
Yeah.
You should want to win games and know you're going to win games. But it's always work to do.
And lastly, is that kind of the leadership you're sensing from guys like Baines and Washington, Aaron Elliott, and among others on this team that they got to the state quarters a year ago, they lost, they're not satisfied with that, and they want to go out with the big game coming up for this weekend with Highland Springs? That's going to be another test for you as you try to keep growing and progressing?
Yeah, they not babies anymore. I told you when I first got them, they was babies, and it's no more potential. It got to get done now. So, and they know that they played in every game possible to play in.
Growing up, yeah.
We're right here now.
For sure. Growing up from kids and pups, from boys to men, if you will. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again this weekend.
All right, thank you.
That's Derek Yogi Edwards of the Lake Taylor Titans, and they looked pretty good last night. Maury did not shoot the ball well. They were just 1 of 16 from 3. Titans had troubles at the foul line, 5 of 17, but when you got 2 big men, as I channel my inner Arthur Zeno, you remember the late Art Zeno coached at Church, and he used to call Montel Baines when his guys 2 aircraft carriers. They got 2 aircraft carriers in Baines, that is Rodney Baines, Carmelo Baines, and Elijah Moss Washington, who we heard from. 2 guys 6'8", changes the whole scope of things, and those shooters can shoot a little more freely. Those guards can penetrate a little easier to the cup. It's hard to deal with when you got a couple of guys like that big. Even your dog's barking out there saying, "Feed me, feed the big guys, feed me, feed the big guys." He's hungry.
Gotta feed the big kids. You don't really see them a whole lot in this area. The big kids, a lot of big kids end up transferring to private schools or wherever else, or away from the area for whatever crazy reason. We don't see them. I always love watching, listening to Yogi in his interviews. Got a very distinct voice, and I like how he said these aren't little kids anymore.
Yeah.
We got to win right now. I can imagine him at some of his halftime speeches with his kids. He's just got a tremendous rapport with his guys, and I think they play extremely hard for him because of that.
Kids like playing for him, even the younger kids. We see the little kids out there that played for him, his Norfolk Titans group. They really embrace him, and he connects really well with them, and it's a good vibe with the kids. Yeah.
Yogi, sometimes as coaches we get upset and we raise our voice. Yogi could be, I look at him as a type of guy get upset, but he has that high-pitched voice, so when he gets mad, it's even more, "Oh, come on, coach, you're not that mad," because of the way voice. So the kids are not like shaking in their boots. It's more like, "Oh, he'll be okay," but they still play hard for him. I mean, and that's a key. When you have a talented team that plays together and they really play the game hard, and a lot of times people don't know what do you mean play hard? You get up and down the floor. You're not jogging. You're in the right spots on defense. You're going for loose balls. You're doing all those little intangibles that most kids don't want to do, can't do, don't know how to do. His kids do that, and I think that's a tribute to him and his staff in terms of putting a great product on the floor.
Without a doubt. Before we head to break, I see Lynn Burke has chimed in. It's Santa and his elf. Who is who? Yeah,
that's easy. That's easy to know who the elf is and who Santa is. That's easy.
Yeah. Well,
but hey, hats off. Merry Christmas to Lynn and his lovely wife Charlotte. And
they didn't need mistletoe, as he told us a week or two ago. Didn't need mistletoe. Not necessary.
Yeah, don't need mistletoe. That doggone Lynn Berg, boy, I tell you. He's become a PGG rated show.
PGG?
Yeah.
It's going to be PG-13.
Yeah, I'm not going to put him any higher than that.
Okay.
But Linda's getting it done.
We've got Craig Brehon coming up next from Bethel High School to just talk about today's Iverson Holiday Showcase. It's coming your way. Plus, NFL picks week 16. I hate to let him brag as I put it on the screen here for folks to see the standings. But my gracious, look at this. 10-1-1 the past 4 weeks for Ed Young in the picks. How on earth is he doing this, folks? I want to know, someone out there's got to know, who is his secret informant? Because there's no way he knows this much about.
Well, I try to keep telling y'all,
It's not Vinny. No.
When I have time to concentrate on things, I've got some people in high places and a few people in low places, and they'll take care of what stuff I need. I got a guaranteed game this week. I gave you one last week. I gave the whole world one last week. You all didn't take it, and it happened. And we'll see what happens this week.
Yeah, it's all coming your way here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Hatfield and Young at the Plex. We'll step aside and come back in just a bit. Stay tuned. We'll hear from our friends at Zoop. You got to warm up this winter with some soup from Zoop. They're coming your way in just a bit, as well as others from the Sportsplex.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us. And the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
Cheeseburger lovers deal. 2 singles for $5 or 2 doubles for $7 for a limited time. So, how is it? Deal this good speaks for itself, I guess. DQ, happy tastes good.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
And 248 overall. He led the Bruins to a region championship back in 2008, a couple of state final appearances in 2008 and 2017, and has 8 20-plus win seasons. He is Coach Craig Brehon. Coach, good to have you on the show. Happy holidays, and we got a big basketball event coming up at Bethel High School this weekend. How you been?
I've been great, Matt. Doing really well, enjoying the start of this basketball season, and we're looking forward to tomorrow, having Allen down as well as some great basketball at Bethel High School.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. We'll get into that here coming up with the Allen Iverson Holiday Showcase. We'll actually have the matchups flashing across our ticker here in just a second. But for you as the head man at Bethel, I'm sure you get asked this a lot. There are so many great players that have gone through your program onto the college ranks, and you've had some memorable teams. What do you love most about coaching and doing it as long as you've had and as successful as you have?
Well, I love Bethel High School. I love this team that we have this present year. We're probably younger than I've ever been in my 28 years at Bethel High School. We've got 5 freshmen. 4 of them are playing really good minutes. We've got 3 sophomores, 3 juniors, and 3 seniors. And our senior point guard, Daniel Webb, has been out for 8 weeks with a fractured hip. So it's just a joy to come here and work with these young people. Even when I retire from my position in the school, I hope I can still stay on and coach if we still have success at Bethel. But I love the kids and love the program.
It's tremendous. And I know one of the young men, if I'm not mistaken, for you, was it Terrence Handsome, had a triple-double in a game here recently?
Yeah, Terrence is a junior. Probably played 5 minutes all of last year combined. But he's really the heart of our team. He's a small kid, about 5'10", tremendous defender, has great instincts, but he's also led us. He's second in scoring on our basketball team. He has just a knack for finding the rim. He's a transition type player. He gets steals. He speeds up the guy with the basketball, and he's great at finishing at his size. And he's really been the glue to our team, the heart of our team defensively, and he's gotten us going. And so far, we're 4-2 with this group, and we lost a game to Phoebus a few weeks ago. 2 seconds ago, official made a call with 2 seconds. They went on the line, made 2 foul shots and won. So with this young group, we like the maturation where they're at right now as a team and playing hard, and we just hope we can continue that.
You know, the Old Dominion basketball for the women's side here on the road, actually done some men's games as well this year. And I was telling someone just the other night in Norfolk about Iverson's Holiday Showcase coming up this weekend at Bethel. Come on out. And he said it was the funniest thing because Alan has such a huge heart. You've gotten to know him pretty well over the years. He's done so much for your community and your school, which we'll talk about here. And people, he's a polarizing figure. Either they love him or they don't like him. That's how it is with some people of his ilk. But they said one of the things they love is the Car Shield commercial he does with Ric Flair and Ice-T. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but it is pretty hilarious where he's in the barbershop chair and he's laughing at Ric Flair's woo. Just speak to what Alan has done for you guys as a program that those that don't know, because he has been very generous with his time and his dollars as well.
Well, it goes without saying. I mean, he doesn't publicize this, but for almost 20 years, through Alan's generosity and his relationship with Reebok, they sponsored my basketball program. Our kids don't pay for tennis shoes, not just one pair. They get multiple pair, team uniforms, sweatsuits, travel sweatsuits. He's sponsored us when we've gone to the state championship to put us in hotels and ride chartered buses. He's paid for us to go to camp at Charlotte a year ago for the week. He does anything we ask him to do. Just an outstanding person. He is 100% bleeding Bethel green and gold. And we contact him all the time and just ask him, just whatever you can do for us, we appreciate it. And he just says, don't hesitate to call. He'll be here this weekend to support us again. He'll talk to the kids before the game. And whether we're having the success that we're accustomed to having or we're mediocre, he is there 100% supporting and encouraging the kids. A super ambassador for this program. And we just love Alan for what he's done for the school and for the basketball program. Just a few years ago, he was a part of getting Reebok to donate $100,000 to our school so that students that weren't athletes could apply to colleges free of choice. And so he just his hand is in so many areas of Bethel High School. Now that he's a vice president of Reebok, he has even more of a role. And so we're just so thankful to have him to be a part of our program and help our kids.
That is just so awesome there. And I know this event has been at various venues in the past, including at the Coliseum, but now it's back at Bethel High School, where you all were able to name the gymnasium after Allen Iverson just a couple of years ago. And it was neat to see a lot of the footage and photos that came from that event. I think it was your season opener. I forget who it was against. You can probably
Heritage.
It was Heritage. There you go. I filmed in some of that, but and he got teared up a little bit, didn't he?
He did, and that's really who he is as a person. He's really emotional. When he talks to the guys about his experiences in life and how thankful he is for where he is in life to be able to help others, he tears up, he cries, he gets emotional. And so that's from his heart. He talks about, his stature. He wasn't one of the biggest guys when he played, but he played with big heart. And so he's got a big heart in terms of athletics as well as giving to people. And that's why God has blessed him, and he's blessing others as a result of that.
And you've had so many young men come through your program, Coach, of the years. It would take us, I don't even know the number. You probably have it written down somewhere of Division I level players and even just college basketball players, even beyond Division I, II, and III, that have been a part of your teams over the years. But it's just inspiring to the youth. I mean, there's so many kids that still, they see him as such a giant figure, even though he's not physically the most, imposing of people at barely 6 feet tall. And he was just incredible to watch on the basketball court, also on the football field when he played at Bethel, in addition to his exploits on the hardwood. But you see these kids, they want to be the next Iverson. And you've had some other players here recently in years, Cam Bacon is playing at Georgetown now, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who's one of the best defensive players in the NFL with the Cleveland Browns. They see them and they also want to be like them. But, it's so cool to see these kids. And I'm sure it's part of why you do this, to help groom these young kids, whether they're going to be the next Iverson, Bacon, or Owusu-Koramoah, or their own self, have an impact in the sport they're playing or in society in general, right?
Definitely. I mean, Cam was just in practice a week ago, just stopped in to see the guys, had a little break, came in, just got some shots up and talked to the guys. Jeremiah came last summer and spoke with the guys about his situation at Cleveland and to keep the job and how competitive it is at that professional level. I talk about, and I show the kids a picture when he was a ninth grader, how small he was, but he had he was wired differently mentally in how he approached athletics and getting himself ready to compete at a high level. And his body changed in a matter of a couple years, from a little boy to a man's body. And of course, he had the mentality to compete. And we talk about that. And I walked the guys out to the state championship picture outside the gym a few weeks ago. And I told them, I said, look at this picture. When Allen won state championship, they had no 1 over 6'3" starting. They had 2 players that were stars in that team, Allen and Tony Rutland. I said, the other guys starred in their role. I said, you guys aren't Allen Iverson or Tony Rutland at this present time, but you can star in your role. We need you guys to star in whatever role we've identified for you. And that's how we try to get them to understand your impact can be really big if you do what we ask you to do and do that very well. It may not be scoring. It might be defending. It might be creating for other people. It may be scoring. But find your role, identify your role, and believe in that role. And so the guys do look up to Allen Iverson and Jeremiah and Cam and Marcus Banks, who's at University of Maryland, Baltimore County, playing very well. We've had about 70 kids from Division I all the way through since I've been here go on and play college basketball, a lot of them at the high level. And we're proud of them, and they all come back. Well, not all, a majority of them. I would say 3/4 of the guys come back and still work out with our kids and talk to our kids. So we're proud of our alumni base. We have
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely.
Athletics,
CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients, and we're more than a hospital.
At this present time, but you can star in your role. We need you guys to star in whatever role we've identified for you. And that's how we try to get them to understand your impact can be really big if you do what we ask you to do and do that very well. It may not be scoring. It might be defending. It might be creating for other people. It may be scoring. But find your role, identify your role, and believe in that role. And so the guys do look up to Allen Iverson and Jeremiah and Cam and Marcus Banks, who's at University of Maryland, Baltimore County, playing very well. We've had about 70 kids from Division I all the way through since I've been here go on and play college basketball, a lot of them at the high level. And we're proud of them, and they all come back. Well, not all. A majority of them, I would say 3/4 of the guys come back and still work out with our kids and talk to our kids. So we're proud of our alumni base. We have the Neptunes, which is right next to us, that plays at Phoenix Middle School. Some of those guys on that professional semi-pro team played for us here at Bethel. They come back and volunteer and talk with our guys. So we have a great support here at Bethel, and that's why I stay in it, because of our support. We have a program. It's just not guys that play and leave. We have a program. These guys come back and they believe in this program, support the program. I want the kids that are presently playing to have success, not only in school, but in life and hopefully basketball. So that's why I stay here. And that's why I love Bethel High School. I got a great administration, a great athletic director, great support from Reebok and Allen Iverson. why wouldn't I stay? If I can stay till I'm 100, we're still having some success, I'll do that.
There you go. He'll be on the quest to 500-plus wins. Craig Brehon, our guest here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk, available on YouTube as well as VirginiaPreps.com, our Facebook page with the Virginia Beach Sportsplex, and through Instagram and all over the web here as we talk about the Iverson Holiday Showcase coming up at Bethel High School Saturday, December 23rd. Let's go through the games here, Coach. 11 a.m. It's Hampton Christian versus Norfolk Collegiate. Norfolk Collegiate's got a very, very good team despite falling on Thursday night to Charlottesville. They're one of the best teams, I think, public or private in the area. Then Oscar Smith and Grafton. Neat contrast to styles. Before we get to the rest of the matchups, you get Oscar Smith and LeVar Griffin, the up-tempo. Jeremy Jordan's Clippers, more methodical, deliberate. So if you like different styles of basketball, they'll see that throughout the day, including in those early matchups.
Certainly. Yeah, I think the matchups are really, really good. The coaches bought into those matchups. We think it's going to be very competitive for the fans to come out and watch some really good basketball, quality basketball, different styles of coaching, different types of players. But the end result is all these coaches have really good programs, and I think it'll be a great day for $10 to come out and watch basketball at one location and see a lot of great teams and great individuals and great coaches with their programs.
For sure. And you got Lafayette versus Phoebus. After that, Phoebus with one of your former coaches who you've gone head-to-head with a lot of times, and James Daniel. The Phantoms have had some wonderful teams over the years. John Champ and Norview. I didn't know this until someone told me this the other day, Coach. You may have known this, but I didn't realize that Rick Foster once played for Walt Webb at Coastal Christian, supposedly. I didn't know that. So neat little storyline as John Champ takes on Norview in the matchup at 3:30. Did you know that?
I didn't know that, and I've known Walt Webb a lot of years, and known Rick since he's been at Norview. I've never had any idea that. I thought Rick was a guy. Where did Rick play high school at? Was it Norview?
See, I was told, again, I haven't confirmed this through Rick, but I was told by one of the coaches there, they said, he played for him, I guess, at Coastal Christian. So I'm saying this out loud. If it's wrong, I'm sure I'll get corrected by Rick or Walt or somebody, but that's what I was told this week. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that. So you've got that as well. And then certainly you got some heavy hitters coming up after the 3:30 games. You have obviously the likes of you guys in the nightcap against Churchland, but Highland Springs and Lake Taylor and Hampton and Kempsville, all programs that have either been competing, coaches that have won championships like Darren Stanley when he was at Booker T. You've gone up and had some hellacious battles with them over the years in the playoffs. Highland Springs is a couple seasons removed, and we've got Lake Taylor number 1 in the state in Class 3 presently in our Virginia Preps rankings, and Hampton number 2 in the state currently in Class 4. So there's some teams that people will see come late February, early March this year.
Without a doubt. I mean, I think the later games, and we want all the games to be really competitive and great, and we hope we're showing up to give the fans and our supporters something to look at. But I think all the games are really first class. The competition is going to be really good. And you're right, Hampton and Kempsville will be a great game to watch. Styles are pretty similar. Guards play at a high pace. They're downhill guards. They've got deep benches. That's going to be a really, really good team of guard play. Then Highland Springs, like I said, a couple years ago, they were state champions, but Lake Taylor with the two bigs that have just matured and gotten better on the offensive end of the floor over the last couple of years. They're certainly a staple to be in the state playoffs again and go far. And then Churchland, we've got our hands full with Sincere Jones, a guy that can do a lot with the basketball. So we've got to be on our A game defensively to make it tough for him, just not to get easy buckets and get at the rim so easy. But it's a great day of basketball, and we're really excited and looking forward to it.
Yeah, you don't mind that Sincere Jones kid for Mike Collins Truckers getting dunks and blocks. It's not against you. Do it against somebody else, right?
Without a doubt. We're going to watch film in a short time, again, about his tendencies. We got to keep him out of the lane. We got to box him out. He has a variety of ways to score. I know when they played James Monroe, I think a week or two ago, he had 23 of his 32 points in the second half. So he can score in bunches and quickly. We got to make it very difficult for him to get touches. And when he gets the touches, we got to have bodies in front of him, not let him turn the corner and get to the basket, because he will try to finish and dunk. And he also has a good shot in space. So we've got our hands full. We're watching film again today and just trying to devise a plan that's not too complicated. Obviously, we just want to, get in his way and make it tough for him.
Our last couple minutes here with Craig Brehon. He's the head basketball coach of the Bethel Bruins, up to 414 wins in counting. They get the Allen Iverson Holiday Showcase going out there Saturday, December 23rd. Games all day long. They're starting early at 11 a.m. The last game is going to be tipping off with his Bruins playing host to Churchland right around 8 o'clock. After those matchups you got with Kempsville and Hampton, and obviously Lake Taylor, Highland Springs. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Coach, give me sort of an assessment. You've talked about your team a little bit, but the Peninsula District this year and in your region, Region 5B, which has been a bear the last couple of years, years. You just missed the playoffs this past year, but there's always some good teams. Woodside from your district and your region was state champs. Maury was in the state championship game just the season before. Menchville and Kickinton the last 2 years have gone 22-0, 21-1, and not even gotten to states because they had to run into someone else from your district and region in the semifinals at the Scope. How do you size it all up where it's – I've gone on record saying it. Some haven't liked it. Some agree. Some disagree. That I think your region is as tough as it gets in the entire state and all the 24 regions, 6 classifications. I'm sure you don't disagree with that, having to go up against these teams and been on the good side and the bad side, both sides.
Well, I think you've hit the nail on the head, Matt. I mean, I'm not slighting any other region. I think basketball in this area, just like other places, is really, really tough. But Woodside is the standard right now. They returned 4 starters from a team that won the state championship last year. They've got some additions to that talent, which makes them really deeper. When Steph goes to the bench, he doesn't lose a thing in terms of competitiveness and productivity. So they're the team, they're the standard right now in our district. Of course, Menchville with Lamont over there, always vying and very, very competitive and talented. But Eric at Hampton, he's got some new additions there and some kids that have returned. Gavin, their 6'8" kid, they're going to be in the mix in the peninsula because they're just so deep and quality deep as well. But then you look at Kings Fork coming to 5B. You look at Green Run, who's been great. Norview, who is really good. Maury, we played them this summer at the Christopher Newport team camp, and their front line, they had 6'8", 6'6", 6'6", I believe, and they had an all-state guard returning. Deep team. Princess Anne is tough. So when you get to the playoffs and you can be 22-0, I know we were there when Duke Cruz played from us. We were 27-0 that year. We were ranked number 1 in the state. We ranked in the nation. We got up against a really good Talbot team in the regional, a game to go to the state playoffs, and they beat us on a weak side rebound, put in, and knocked us out. We ended our season 27-1. So you can be really, really good, but you don't play your best in those games that mean so much, and you can find yourself home. So that's what I think 5B and really all these conferences are here. It's really, really tough. So regardless what your record is, you got to come ready to play and compete and hope that your kids are playing well at the right moments.
I'll get you on this, and I appreciate the time so much. I bring this up to Coach Young a lot on the show, and he always voices his opinion. You're a veteran coach, so you have the right to, and the floor here, the platform, to give yours out there. There are so many great things I know that you all enjoy about coaching the sport. What would you like to see tweaked or adjusted as far as maybe the playoffs go, the rules? There are some new rules this year as far as the foul count, for those who don't know about free throws and how that goes this year from the quarters as opposed to the half. You can go through that a little bit. But anything you'd like to see addressed, be it in your region, be it rule-wise, be it just how the postseason works, because I know you all don't get always the say in the room that so many of the administrators do and the VHSL folks do when they come to these things, but you'd like to obviously get your input, I'm sure, to some of these matters. What would you like to see addressed or changed potentially?
Well, we complained about it a lot in our 5B. We were the only conference that took 6 teams into the playoffs prior to this year. Now the ADs and principals voted it would be 8 like other conferences. I don't like the fact that teams can be under 500 if that's the mark we're looking at, and make the playoffs. And I'm speaking of, teams equivalent to football, 2-8, 1-9. There's no place, in my opinion. I would not want to have my team participate in playoffs with that type of a performance. I think you should earn your way in the playoffs. If it's 8 teams, that's fine, but you should have a quality record going to the playoffs and make it competitive and give your kids a chance. When you're going in there and you're below subpar in your performance and you're playing against teams such as a Woodside or such as a Maury, who I think are the standard in 5B, or Kings Fork, you put yourself in a situation where your kids are getting embarrassed and the experience itself is not good. So the 5 fouls, I told our kids that can weigh in your favor or against you. It forces you to defend without fouling, just wasteful fouls. I think we've done a good job with managing that right now because it's been to our favor in terms of teams that are playing aggressive, they're trapping full court. They're reaching a lot. So we go to the line. We just got to convert those opportunities. And so I think that works in our favor. I'm not such a big proponent of a shot clock. People talk about that. We haven't had a lot of teams that stall the ball against us or play ball control basketball. So that's not an issue at my present concern. If it came in, we would adjust to that rule as well. But right now, the fouls have not worked against us in terms of putting teams on the line a lot early because we focus on just defending without fouling a lot. But again, just great basketball and whatever happens, it happens. Like I said, some things are out of our control. But I don't want to be in playoffs with my program if we haven't earned the right to be there.
I'm completely with you on just about all those. The shot clock thing, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I'd like to see some data or evidence that supports why it would help the game per se, because I know it is a financial issue as far as getting them all implemented in every gym. And with the playoffs, I mean, we saw the unfortunate situation of football where Phoebus beat Jamestown by triple digits and 1-9 teams. You hate it for both sides because if you're the team that's great, it's hard to tell a team to stop playing. Although that situation could be a little bit different. And then the 1-9 team, it's like they shouldn't, you feel for them. It's a tough situation. And in basketball, we've seen like 1-21, 2-20 get in when there's been some teams that are winning double-digit games not making it. So hopefully those things will get addressed as we move forward. But it should be a fun day again for basketball coming up Saturday. Bethel High School going out there, go support the local area and the teams. You'll see Allen Iverson as well. And he is always generous with his time. He also gives you some photo ops if you get a chance to catch him. I mean, I always don't bug him in the middle of a play and go running up to him and crashing him or tackling him. But he is very kind with the kids out there and does some autographs from time to time. So it should be a great day of hoops all day long. Coach, thank you so much for the time. All the best to you. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and I look forward to seeing you over there at Bethel High School.
Thank you, Matt, for your support, not just this year, every year that you've been involved with high school sports in football, basketball, baseball. You are the guru. You're the best, and you hear it all the time. I don't know how you find time to do it. You're with Old Dominion women's basketball. You've also commentated with the men's basketball from time to time, but you're all over the state, not just here at 757. You know these kids like the back of your hand. You're the person I contact when I need some accurate information because you're just so in tune to what's going on. So thank you for your support. Thank you. We look forward to having you here tomorrow supporting all the teams in this event we have going on. And you have a happy holidays as well for you and your family.
Well, thank you so much, Coach. That means a whole lot to me personally, and it's always the access and cooperation of guys like yourself that help make my job all the easier. And all the best to you and your program, and we'll see you out there. That's Craig Brehon, head boys basketball coach of the Bethel Bruins, the Allen Iverson Holiday Showcase going on all day long. We'll have some coverage for you, some tweets, all kinds of updates throughout the day, and later on VirginiaPreps.com. We'll take a time out here from some of our sponsors that make it possible for us at the Plex. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Stay tuned.
Revitalize your property today. Shine Time is your turnkey solution for all power washing and painting projects. With years of experience in both residential and large-scale commercial settings, their focus is to bring new life to your home, building, or outdoor space and ensure 100% customer satisfaction every time. Shine Time Power Wash.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
That's the DQ Cheeseburger Lovers Deal. 2 singles for $5 or 2 doubles for $7 for a limited time. So, how is it? Deal this good speaks for itself, I guess. DQ, happy tastes good.
you two is you never shut up. If you listen to you guys, there's always pearls of wisdom coming out of them ruby lips somewhere. And it's the way it's supposed to be.
And now back to Matthew Hatfield and the evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Hatfield and Young at the Plex. We thank Craig Brehon for coming on the show, the head basketball coach at Bethel. We've had a lot on the show today. We've been asking the question all morning long, what is your favorite Christmas movie? Ed and I will give you ours here before we sign off as we talk to you about the world of sports, our NFL picks coming up in just a second. You see Vinny on the screen. Hey, I have to give a quick shout out, Ed. You always make fun of me with being in the neighbor's pool. You always say I'm breaking into the house to get into the neighbor's pool. It's always one of your favorite little jokes, but
not a joke. I tell only truth.
No, I don't break in. I'm allowed to watch the house and go to the pool. And I got to give a shout out to Bill and Diana Gillum. Great folks, live across the street from me. They let me use the pool and also watch the house. They just brought me a Christmas present. You can see it in the screen here. Arizona Cardinals sweatshirt. Look at this. I'm going to be wearing this for the end of time. Well, no, I'll wash it. Don't worry. So I want to thank them very much for that generosity out of their hearts. So great folks. Go support Bill, by the way. Future Flooring. He's been a longtime sponsor of our Junior Preps Basketball Classic, too. So I want to give him a quick shout out to that. And they are longtime loyal ODU supporters and fans as well. So there you have it. What is your favorite? You want to hold off on the Christmas movie and do the picks now?
Let's get the picks in because that's what needs to be done because yours truly is, as they say, fat man on a roll going downhill. That's me.
Sadly, you are winning this game. You've never won this game with us. Usually it's been Dino and me kicking your tail, but you're kicking my tail and Bruce Pearl's tail the last bit of the season here. Bruce got on a hot streak. I was cruising ahead for about 7-8 weeks of the season, and then somehow you found an informant, and it's not Vinny. It's somebody else that's giving you the insight with the picks. I don't know who it is, but once I find out who he or she is, I'm going to get on them for allowing you to pass me and cheat your way to victory in this. Although it's not over until the fat lady sings, and we're looking for her. Make sure she doesn't start singing because I can make a comeback before she belts a tune.
Hey, real quick, the interview with Craig Brehon, fantastic interview with the veteran coach, Craig Brehon.
Thank you.
The game at that showcase, I would say, would be the highlight, would be Highland Springs Lake Taylor with the athletes on the floor. The coaching matchup to see will be, there's a lot of them in that, but I like to think Kempsville with Darren Sanderlin, Hampton with Eric Brown.
Yeah.
That would be, if
I
I was
thought you were to pick Jeremy Jordan, LeVar Griffin, which is coming up here in a little bit. I'm going to get over there hopefully in time before that one tips off. But you can't go wrong with a lot of them. But Brown and Sanderlin, that'll be an intense battle, no doubt.
Yeah, I think that one highlights a lot of good coaching matchups there. The other game that might be going to be really good to see, all of them are going to be good to see. John Champ Norview, very similar type teams. That's going to be up and down, up and down.
I'm not as convinced of that. And this is no knock to Walt Webb's program. I watched him a couple weeks ago online against Potomac Falls, who we have number 2 in the state, and they breezed by him. I think his team's a little young right now. That could be a little lopsided, unfortunately, unless Champ is hitting shots and Norview's sleepwalking on him. That's my feeling on him. Not to be mean.
Yeah, I've not seen Champ play, so I'm just basing it on.
Now, he has a really good young guard. He's a freshman or sophomore. His name's escaping me right now. I apologize. We'll probably put it out today on Twitter if he's having a good game. But he's going to be a player to watch in years to come. But I think your best game photo finish might be the last one, Bethel Church. I think the Bruins will step up at home in front of Iverson and Sincere Jones, that you heard about, is a really good player. So there's going to be some good games over there today.
Yeah, I think from start to finish, you got a good day of basketball. People to get out and be able to see that one.
Ladies and gents, this is just Ed Young's way of stalling. He's not going first, though, because I'm going first. Because even though he leads the standings, and by the way, on this podcast, we don't give you losers. We give you winners or ties. Because last week, 3-0 for me, ladies and gents. Even though I had ODU women's basketball assignment up at VCU, I was cracking down doing my homework. Bills -1.5, an easy winner over them Cowboys, 31-10, as I call them, America's dream, not America's team. Rams -6.5. I had to sweat that one out. Thank you, Ron Rivera, for going for 2, because had you gone for the 1, I would have still covered by half a point. But had you gone for 2 and gotten it, I'd have been really mad at you. Dolphins -8.5, a 30-0 blitzing of the Jets, so 3-0 for me. Ed did not lose, though. He went 2-0-1. Won on KC -8.5. They prevailed 27-17. He won on Lions -4.5. They won easily 42-17. And he had a tie, a push with the Bengals coming from behind against the Vikings. Oh, Minnesota, you let me down. That's 2 years in a row before Christmas. You let me down. We won't get another one last year against the Colts. That's a bad one for another time, as Ed shakes his head. He knows too much about that. Don't speak about it. Cincinnati rallied to win. What's that?
That was costly, just about.
Yes, it was. 27-24 Bengals, a winner. You have no idea, ladies and gents. You have no idea. Bruce, by the way, Mr. Pearl, -1.5 for the Colts, won 30-13 easily over the Steelers. And Mike Tomlin, the Denby native William & Mary product. Bengals -3 was a push. Browns -3 was a push as they rallied to beat the Bears 20-17. Made our buddy Bob Lanham happy. All right, here we go with the picks. And I'll actually flash up Bruce Pearl's picks first because I'm a nice guy. I want him to go up here first. Here's Bruce's picks, Ed, as you weigh on his selections real quickly. What do you think of Bruce's picks this week?
Chargers 12.5. Ooh.
Against the Bills today. That's a lot of points, and they're a dead team walking with Easton Stick at quarterback and no Brandon Staley anymore. Tricky
that one I'm not sure of. I like the Indianapolis pick.
They're playing the Falcons plus the 2.5. Taylor Heineke back at quarterback, the ODU legend.
Yeah, Dallas, they're on the road. Dallas on the road is not the same as Dallas at home.
Miami's beat up and banged up, so that could be a very shrewd pick by Mr. Pearl on that one. I think it could be another 1-1 in 1 week for him, although there's no pushes. Well, you could get a push with the 2. We'll see what Bruce does here for the picks. All right, I'm going to go first in our selections. We flash up the NFL schedule, the scores, and so far, where am I going for the first selection? What conference do you think I'm going? NFC or AFC?
I'm going to say NFC.
Well, you could have an NFC, AFC straight on it, but it is NFC. You are correct. I'm going to nothing could be finer than to be in Carolina. Back to the scene of the crime, if you will, Jerry Richardson Stadium, where the unfortunate situation in the bowl game with the Monarchs and the Hilltoppers. Let's go back to Carolina. Panthers are at home, trying to get a second straight home win. They're playing the Packers, and no, he's not Bart Starr, Brett Favre, or Aaron Rodgers, but Jordan Love has been playing better the second half of the season. And thus, I think Green Bay laying 4 at Carolina with a rookie quarterback. I think they have thrown in the towel. Give me the Pack. They're back, minus the 4, playing for their playoff lives. They need this game. I'll take them laying the 4. They better not win this thing 21-17 or 24-20 or even by a field goal, 20-17. I'll be very, very frustrated and angry. You get the floor for the next 2 selections, and I hope that was one of yours.
I was looking at that hard, yes. I would say probably would have been one of my 3. But I'm going to go – I looked at that Charger thing with Bruce, but I'm going the other way. I think Bills come into L.A. and wallop the Chargers. Bills are playing well. All of a sudden, they're everybody's fave, so to speak. I'm going Bills 12.5. I think at least they win that game by at least 14. And I think the Bills can put 40 on the board. The Chargers can't put 15. So I'm going Bills.
Not without Justin Herbert, they can. I concur with you. All right, that's
going,
pick number 1. What's your pick number 2?
Number 2, let me have. I had it. I just lost them all.
You going to play the big Ravens-Niners game this week with Lamar Jackson against Brock Purdy?
Not touching that game at all. Baltimore as an underdog is a great pick, but San Francisco at home is, I mean, they're Super Bowl bound when you're talking about.
You know what? Everybody raves about their offense, obviously, with Samuel, McCaffrey, Kittle, Ayuk. Their defense with guys like Greenlaw and Warner, they're really hitting people. They have been stepping up. I think that defense is going to be what carries them in the playoffs more than the offense to a degree.
You know, it's a tough week to pick. I'm going to go Denver -7 at home.
7.5 or 7? Where are you showing 7 as? Is that on ESPN?
ESPN.
All right, I gotta verify this so he doesn't cheat, because he's trying to get every half a point he can get right now. You're like Carville over there trying to get your half a points that nobody thinks exists.
There's no need for me to cheat, as I said before. Lying
pay a deeper price for these 7s. I'm showing 7.5. Show me your 7. Let me see this.
All right, hold on if I can pull it up.
I think you are full of garbage.
Can you read it? -7.
That's old. The line has changed. That was when they did the article.
I'm going by what I see, and it says 7, and yep, it's 7, and that's the one I want.
You got an old phone. You are ridiculous.
No, this is from 2023 game. This ain't no 10 years old game.
It's 7.5 now, but I'll give it to you at 7. If they win by half a point, I'm protesting later. I am protesting later, big time.
You can protest. I've got the judge right here. He'll listen to it. He'll listen to it right here.
He's going to shake his head and agree with you.
No. He don't say much, but he's fairly reasonable guy. Vinny Boom Bots.
Where did you get that thing? I got to know.
I forget the name of the place. I'll have to. It's nothing local. It is a bobblehead, as you can see. It does move. It doesn't talk much. So
you know how many people in the Southeastern District want to rip that head off and just like throw it in the toilet?
We've got to get a bobblehead of somebody out there has to sponsor a bobblehead of you and I from the podcast. And also, we're looking for somebody to make us some shirts with Hatfield and Young from the PLEX on the shirt.
Well, that can be done.
If somebody can come through for us, because we, A, too cheap to do it ourselves, B, don't have the money to do it. The funds are very
well, that's not entirely true.
Gone. So I don't have it, mate. And I know you.
George Benson has been good this Christmas. We'll leave that alone.
You have the shekels to do some things, but I know I don't. Teaching salary is awful tough to live on.
Oh, stop it.
Awful tough to live on.
Oh, stop it.
But yeah, we got to do that. We got to do that.
All those road trips you be making, we can put it there, right there behind the back there by the piano and the fireplace in my nice humble abode.
Yeah, I got his 4 walls and a couch. Look what he's got. Piano, which he still doesn't know how to play. Fireplace, which there's no fire in the wood. He walked into a neighbor's house on Saturday mornings because they work, and he uses this until a certain time, and he has to hurry up and get out.
No. I get sweatshirts for watching people's houses. That's what happens for me, as I just gave you evidence. I should have had Bill come on the podcast too. See, there's a nice little red bird. We'll put it on. We'll wear it today at Bethel for the Iverson Showcase. People can see it. All right, where am I going to for my next 2 picks? I'm going to go to an over-under, Ed, which I haven't done in 2 weeks. I went on that over-under with the Texans and the Jets. I think there's going to be a lot of points with a backup quarterback and a quarterback who's resurgent right now. We're talking about Baker, Mayfield, and C.J. Beathard. But more than that, it's the skill position guys. It's your even though the receivers are out for the Jags like Christian Kirk, it's your C.J. Beathard who's going to step up and find some guys like Travis Etienne. You've got, obviously, with the Bucs, they have Mike Evans, who's having a really good year, over 1,000 yards receiving. I will go over the total in the Bucs-Jaguars game, which I have at 41.5. Is that what you're showing?
41.5, yep. ESPN, yep.
Okay. Over 41.5, Tampa and Jacksonville. I just need 6 touchdowns to win by half a point, and that's pick number 2. Pick number 3 of the last selection for this scintillating Saturday before Christmas. Tell you what, I'm really torn on where to go for my last choice. I have a couple different avenues I'm exploring. Eagles and Chiefs are laying too many points for my taste. Bears against my Cardinals. I feel like it's just a bad Christmas omen if I do that. Jets and Commanders, that's a bad football game. And I tell you what, I'm leaning hard on the under in that game, 36.5. I'm leaning really, really hard. But it's down to -3 in Minnesota. Lions at the Vikings. Detroit needs a big stand. I'm going NFC North. Give me the Lions -3. I even looked at the Browns a little bit with our buddy Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah leading that defense. He had a Bethel High, -2.5 at Houston with a backup quarterback in Case Keenum playing for C.J. Stroud. And by the way, what a job Joe Flacco has done for that Cleveland offense, pinch for Deshaun Watson. Give me for my last selection to go with Packers -4 and over 41.5 Bucks and Jags. Give me the Lions to roar and cover, laying 3 in Minnesota. You're up for your final selection to accompany Bills -12.5 and Broncos -7. Wink, wink, not 7.5.
I'm going over and under too, but I'm going to go over. Game that I'll probably watch because it involves my team, the Raiders, who I don't think will win. But I've got 40 as a over and under, so I'm going to go over 40. I think the Chiefs alone can score 40 on the Raiders. So over the 40 for
You're showing 40.5. Where are you getting these half of points from?
Hold on, let me make sure. As I said, I do not want to be accused of lying because
you're going to be accused of lying, cheating, and stealing, whether you are or aren't. So
no, well, that's because people just, people with low self-esteem will try to bring others down instead of trying to reach to their level. I've learned long ago: don't look down, only look up. Let me see here. Let me make sure. ESPN, what are you telling me? You got all this jibber jab here about who's where.
Wait. While you look for quit your jibber jabber, I'm gonna go grab something. Go ahead. Keep talking.
Okay. As I'm looking for, he leaves me holding the bag. Steeler? No, I don't want to do the Steelers. By the way, all that talk about Mike Tomlin being fired, please go sit down somewhere. There's no reason that man to be fired. They need to get rid of a few players. Brought in some knuckleheads this year. Get rid of them and let Mike Tomlin do his job. I'm tired of hearing people say every time his team started losing or whatever, it's coach's fault. When the team wins, well, he's got the right players. He's doing the right things. I'm just, all levels, I'm getting tired of hearing that.
First name, Mr.
Can't say what I want to say.
Period. Last name, G. Get up, fool. Get up, fool. Get up, fool.
Do that again. I missed the whole thing.
Quit your jibber jabber. Don't give me no back talk, sucker. I pity the fool.
That's right. Anytime you say something now, I'm just going to go.
Don't give me no back talk, sucker.
Mr. T in your pocket, ladies and gents. Get you one for Christmas. If you're looking for a stocking stuffer, they didn't pay me to say this, but you can get a Mr. T in your pocket. People will love it.
I don't want Mr. T in my pocket. It don't sound right. It don't sound good. I
pity the fool. Don't give me no back talk, sucker. Quit your jibber jabber. Don't make me mad. First name, Mr. Middle name, period. Last name, G.
And then my favorite that was made and designed simply for Ed Young.
Get up, fool. Get up, fool.
There you go.
Go on back to Portsmouth. Hey, give me, you're right. You're right. ESPN 40.5. Give me over 40.5 Raiders.
There you go. He was trying to cheat, ladies.
No, I saw it. I looked at a different game that says 40. This is 40.5 Raiders Chiefs.
So to quickly recap as we sign off here on this splendid Saturday, we've got our Christmas pick movies as we approach the 2-hour mark here on the show, and we'll flash up there once again for those that are just joining us or want to see it again because he has been pretty good on his picks. Bruce Pearl's selections. He's going Chargers plus 12.5, Colts plus 2.5, and Cowboys plus the 2. Ed Young's got the Bills minus 12.5, Broncos minus the 7, or as I say, 7.5, and over 40.5 for Chiefs and Raiders. Detroit minus 3 for me, Green Bay minus 4, and over 41.5 for Bucks and Jags. The selections for NFL Sunday week number 16 in the league where they play for pay. There you have it. All right, Ed, as we say goodbye on this Saturday, you want to hear DJ Hatt's top 5 Christmas movies from 5 to 1? Here's what he weighed in. He's got It Happened on 34th Street, number 5. He's got Elf. Remember Elf with Will Ferrell? Number 4. He's got Home Alone, number 3. It's a Wonderful Life, number 2. And I'm with my pops on this one. Number 1 with a bullet is Christmas Story with Ralphie. That is number 1. You'll poke your eye out, kid. That is the go-to Christmas movie for me. I don't know how you can go wrong with that one. That is the number 1 selection, without a doubt, with a bullet. Give me A Christmas Story. Which, you know why it's number 1? To be the end of the argument of arguments. They show it for 24 hours on TBS and TNT. If it wasn't the best, they wouldn't show it for 24 hours continuously. That's the best. And then when they go to the Chinese restaurant, then that's great. That's great too. I love that. That's awesome.
No, it's very good. It's a great family one. Therefore, I'm going to have to put 2 on my list. I am going to go with National Lampoon because it's just pure comedy straight throughout. It's dysfunctional, in a way. It's probably not for the kiddies, so to speak.
Right up your alley with Dysfunctional.
Yeah, Dysfunctional is perfect. Home Alone, because of what Macaulay Culkin in the role he played as the kid, and Joe Pesci, and was it Stern? Is it James Stern?
Daniel Stern.
Daniel Stern, the other two bungling bandits, is tremendous. Those are going to be my first two. There are many other ones, but give me those two as we're up against it.
Okay. By the way, I'm also being told for those out there now, take the Monitor Merrimack Tunnel over to Hampton, Newport News if you're traveling from the south side today. That's what I was told, as opposed to the
64. You're probably going to wait at the Hampton Bridge Tunnel for days.
So traffic. For those that are making that commute, I just got that from a good source to do that. So we're going to sign off as I get ready to head on the road. For the coach, Ed Young, I am Matt Hatfield. We want to thank everyone out there for tuning in all year long. We'll be doing it again in 2024. We'll actually be probably doing one next week. I know Ed's on the road. We'll figure out what we'll do for the show. If it's going to be condensed, abbreviated, how we do it, we'll figure it out. And happy holidays, Merry Christmas from us to you, including Vinny.
Yeah, to everybody, man. Just the time of the season. We like to joke around, have fun on here as we give you information, but serious time of the year, man. Enjoy your families, enjoy your friends, your people. Life is short. Life's very short. Don't hold grudges. Let it go. Let people know. And the best gift you probably can give somebody is helping somebody that cannot help themselves.
There you go. We'll talk to you next time. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.